Because the police made many obvious and serious mistakes, I made a complaint against the police through the Law Enforcement Conduct Commission on 18th of October 2023. The letter stated that the LECC generally does not directly investigate a complaint and will only conduct a direct investigation under some special circumstances. For example, the police cannot appropriately investigate a complaint. The complaint involves a system-wide issue affecting the New South Wales police force, etc. And they said, "We have carefully assessed your complaint and decided that it is appropriate for the New South Wales police force to deal with it." Around the beginning of April 2024, the police called me to handle this complaint. However, the police answer was very simple. The store had deceived me and I needed to contact Fair Trading to resolve it. I wanted to communicate with the rest of the questions, but they hung up the phone and refused to answer. They only answer questions for which they can find an excuse and refuse to answer other questions that cannot be answered. By the end of April, I received the official documents as shown in the picture above. The letter said it was determined that your complaint be declined for further investigation under Section 132 of the Police Act 1990. What the LECC said earlier is that they will only directly investigate the complaint if the police cannot appropriately investigate the complaint, or the complaint involves a system-wide issue affecting the New South Wales police force, etc. They added, "We have carefully assessed your complaint and decided that it is appropriate for the New South Wales police force to deal with it." I explained a lot of situations, such as the police had long known that the e-bikes sold in the store were illegal, but failed to do the minimum to warn potential customers. Even I can think of a way. It is legal for the purchaser to use an e-bike to ride home as soon as he or she leaves the store. In this case, if one or two policemen are posted near the store and guarded every day, one person can be fined nearly $3,000. It's easy to make over $10,000 a day. What job is easier than this? The key is that it's completely legal. The store provided me with a fake certificate. The store told me it was genuine, and I showed it to the police. The police did not deal with the store that forged the certificate, but only focused on dealing with me. On 13th of April 2023, the police only mentioned the issue of huge fines, but did not inform about demerit points, let alone driver's license suspension. The police had a very bad attitude on 13th of April 2023. Because my English was not very good, I wanted to take photos of 5 fine titles so that I could see the situation in advance. but the police were very impatient and unwilling to wait for 10 seconds. Just told me to go home and wait for the mail. On 8th of August 2023, with an interpreter available, I asked the police what the potential consequences were, but he did not answer, leading me to mistakenly believe that this was just a warning, even though the police knew that I suffered from major depression. They changed their minds and fined me a fine. This may be because the police can get pleasure from torturing people. 2 weeks later, the public place mentioned in the fine notice was school, but in fact it was court, which was incorrect. Fine notice mentioned that my last name is Tian, which is actually Jiang. Due to this error, my WTO application process could not continue. It was finally approved on 16th of October. I think that was an obvious act of discrimination of 13th of April 2023. There were dozens of people in the same situation as me in that place, but the police didn't deal with anyone else. Ironically, this store also teamed up with the council, the New South Wales Police, Student Union and others to hold an event on 4th of September 2023, specifically to promote traffic laws and the legal e-bikes to delivery workers. The police knew in 2022 that the e-bikes they sold were illegal to ride on the road and did not deal with it. Then, for the first time to hold such a formal event, the police specifically chose this e-bike store to cooperate and endorse them. I don't know what kind of collusion of interests there is among them. The e-bikes demonstrated at the promotional event on 4th of September complied with Australian law, but even now they are still selling illegal e-bikes. Based on so much information, LECC still believes that the police can investigate this case objectively and impartially. But the reality was unsatisfactory, because LECC did nothing and led it to the police department to check their own mistakes. They simply refused to answer and hang up the phone. When you don't want to do something, you can always find an excuse. But when you want to do something, some obvious mistakes can't stop you. For example, the police knew in 2022 that the e-bikes they sold were illegal to ride on the road and they did not deal with it. Then, for the first time to hold such a formal event, the police specifically chose this e-bike store to cooperate in and endorse them. Since LECC also made mistakes, I filed a complaint against LECC through the Office of the Inspector of the LECC. OILECC's official response shown above cites complex laws and concludes on page 2 that I am satisfied that there is no evidence that there has been agent maladministration or misconduct maladministration on the part of any officer of the LECC. I also responded to my questions via email. The police made obvious mistakes. The LECC did nothing. and neither did the LECC, which oversees the LECC. How can fairness and justice in this country be maintained? So I say there's no much difference between Australia and communist China. The laws written down all look good and uphold fairness and justice. When it comes to the exclusion level, you don't know what kind of distortion it has become. Moreover, the country has spent a lot of money and resources to maintain many departments that have little use. On the surface, it seems to have done something, but in fact, it has not had much promoting effect on society.